I'm in a new setup. I got an actual ring light and I feel like a true YouTuber. Like, I feel like it's all coming together, you know? Now, I need to be good at this whole YouTube thing. I think that's the final step. But since it is spooky month, it is time to share some spooky stories. I felt that it was fitting. These aren't entirely spooky, but I want to share them. So I'm gonna share them. Let's do it. So my first encounter with possible death outside of being yeeted against a wall when I was 2. I almost drowned when I was 3 years old. Fun fact, did you know flies in the home are an omen for death? And there are flies all over my house. I wish I was kidding. So when I was 3, I had this little swimmy float thing to keep me up. If I find a picture on Google, which I'm sure I will post it. And so that's what my mom would put me in, because it had like little like play things and like on like the bar where you could put your hands or whatever. So I was floating in that, jolly, merry, and happy, while my mom was cleaning out the pool. We had family over, like my brother, and I don't really remember who else was there. But my mom was walking around the side with the pool skimmer cleaning out the pool because my sisters had just done a whirlpool to get all the dirt into the center. That basically was our summer highlights. And I was like, Mommy, look what I can do. And she's like, that's great, sweetie. That's great. Looks back and, oh dear, my child's gone. I had flipped the thing. I flipped the raft or floaty, whatever, and I was sinking to the bottom faster than a rock. My brother, all done up in a suit and everything, jumped in and saved me. And he said to this day it still gives him nightmares, just the way I was staring back at him like... Also, I had hiccups for like a week after that. I wonder why. Another story was when my sister, my older sister, my mom and I were going to a store. I don't exactly remember which store it was. And someone had parked on the lines because my sister and I are handicapped. And my mom couldn't get us into the car because they were parked on the lines, which is illegal to do. So my mom did like the right thing, and she went to the desk and told them like, hey, I can't get my kids into the car. So they like rang up the number of the car next to us and been like, hey, move your stuff. But my mom like later was like, you know what, I don't want to, but I guess like I'll just back the car up and get them in it, even though like we're blocking the parking lot, which sucks. So we were like going out, and there was this guy. We called him Mr. X because we never learned his name. He was, he was the owner of the car, and he was not happy with us. He started like cussing out my mom, throwing change at her. I don't remember why. I swear I was probably 5 years old when this happened. And my mom was like scared to death because he was quite crude and verbally very combative. Ended up like speeding away or whatnot. She was worried that he was gonna like run over her crippled children. That's like was one of her fears when he got into his car and we couldn't get into the car quick enough. He didn't run us over. We were not roadkill. And I think he did eventually get caught after that. If I'm not mistaken, I'm probably mistaken. But that was another very scary encounter that I now can laugh about. Another not spooky or creepy, just encounter was when I had to go for a back brace appointment when I was a kid. We were getting out of the parking lot, and there was, I believe it was a gang fight between two different gangs, and they like were meeting up right in front of where I had to go for my appointment. And my mom was sitting there going, okay, we're gonna die. if I throw the wheelchair one way, maybe that'll ward off like 4 of the members, and I'll just scoop you up and book it. So she was already planning like, oh no, oh geez, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? It's me and this little kid, what am I gonna do? With all these people that look like they're like ready to actually kill another human being. We managed to stop a gang fight. They all stopped, and one of them opened the door to let my mom and I into the building. That was like amazing. And it's something like we'll bring up from time to time, being like, do you remember that one time we thought we were gonna die and turns out they were like gentlemen? Another time was when I had to go to the hospital because I was sick. My mom was driving and it was like dead of night. I think it was winter time. I believe it was winter time. And she took like a wrong turn and we wound up in back alleys of a very scary part of town. And it was very similar to like the scenes in movies where like the creepy black Escalades just pull out from both ends and they're just sitting there staring at you, and you know that you are going to get crushed by these 2 Escalades or get shot down. That's what it felt like, because we ended up getting like dead end in alleyways in these creepy places. And eventually a cop car did come by though and said, do you need help? And we was like, yeah, we do. And we eventually got to the hospital safe and sound. This one's actually kind of funny. Okay, it's not funny, but it is kind of funny. So we were leaving a building. I think it was like a government building or something. It was for an appointment for me. I lived at hospitals and specialists, and childhood was great. So we were going through the foyer of the building because you had to like sign in and then you had to get checked by security. And this man in a boiler suit like came from like the corner of the foyer and like grabbed my mom from behind, and I was shell-shocked and I didn't say anything at all. I didn't scream or anything, and my mom turned around like ready to like have either a heart attack, punch him in the face, scream her head off, or all 3. Turns out it was my dad. I don't know if I'm allowed to tell that story because my mom's gonna be like, why'd you tell him that story? That's embarrassing. It's funny and it goes with the spooky theme. This one was recent. So if you guys didn't know, I was part of the Fierce campaign, the Face Your Fierce campaign with Abercrombie. I was nominated and I was very happy with the result of it and very thankful for the opportunity. My photographer was Eileen. For those of you who know Eileen, she's one of my best and closest friends ever. We went and took photos, and then we decided to like hit the mall, get something to eat, all that good stuff. Even took some photos there and just had some hanging out to do because we hadn't seen each other in a long time before then. And I had started to notice, okay, this is me like whenever I watch all these like crime shows. I become very paranoid and hyper aware of all my surroundings, especially when I'm just with friends and not with like say Ruth or my parents. This guy was following us, and if he was trying to be subtle while stalking us in every single female store we went into, he didn't do a great job of hiding it because his outfit was so extravagant. Michael Jackson and Prince would be ashamed to be seen in public in it. It was very extravagant. And he followed us into every single store and would just watch us. Just every single store. And he would stay like so many feet behind us. So Eileen was like, okay, we'll just ignore him. And I was sitting there going, no, because I don't want him following me to my car. So I managed to grab security and I told him like, hey, this full-grown man is following us and I am concerned. Thankfully, he took care of it and started he tagged the guy, and the guy stopped following Eileen and I, and we managed to leave safely because we left pretty much immediately after that. I told her, I'm like, you know what? We can go have fun somewhere else where there are more witnesses and safer environment. Let's go. So that was probably one of the spookier moments I think I've had in the most recent few months. For those of you that don't know, I had to get a spinal fusion when I was 12 years old. My spine had gotten into such a bad curvature that they're like, you know what, we just gotta put metal all up in that. So they did. And that part went great. I can't slouch. I can only move my head, my neck, and my shoulders and arms. The rest of my torso is stiff. I can't move it. But straight spine, healthy Lolita. What sucks was they put me in this bed. It's called a Clinitron bed, and for those of you who don't know what a Clinitron bed is, it's basically a heated bed that has sand like in the certain area of the bed. It's a hospital bed, so you know the part where your upper body rests? Well, the actual bed part had sand in the mattress, and it would move with the heat, so you won't get pressure sores, because pressure sores on someone who is bedbound, paralyzed in any way, shape, or form is very, very dangerous and can go wrong very, very fast. So the sand is to help you keep the skin moving, and it's not stuck in one place for so long. It's not constantly pressing against this one area. Great idea for a bed. It's kind of revolutionary for hospital beds, really. What sucks was it was moved to this station where I was in the hospital where the nurses didn't know how to work a Clinitron bed. They didn't know how to work all the mechanics on it, and that included the heat of the sand. Long story short, the sand had gotten way too hot and I was boiling alive. They had me, they always had to get cold rags, I remember, because they were like, she's burning up, fever times 10. They would try and rotate me. They would, it was awful. I felt like I was dying. And about 3 days later, my mom finally had to get the doctors and be like, hey, listen, it smells like something is decaying in my kid's room. And they're like, oh, it might just be the dressing, because I was wrapped from torso down in bandages and gauze because I just had a spinal fusion done, and those were just protective dressings, keep the skin all nice and good. They're like, that's probably what you smell. And also she hasn't been feeling well. Could be that. And my mom's like, no, this smells like something is rotting and it's not good, and I am concerned. So they finally were like, fine, let's just get this lady off our backs. Rolled me onto my side and found out that I had a hole in my back. An actual hole, it had melted through my skin, my muscles, down to my bone, and through the bone. Doctors later told me they could put probably their whole fist into where the Clinitron bed had melted my skin. So that was fun, and I spent a year healing that stupid thing. But now I'm good. And it was probably the worst experience of my life, and now I don't trust Clinitron beds. I will rotate myself if I have to, but that's why I'm always constantly shifting now. And if you are a paralyzed person, new or old, please make sure you shift your legs, your torso, your lower body constantly. You don't want a pressure sore, because if you get a pressure sore, say on your foot, and it gets infected and really, really bad, you will lose that foot. You might lose your leg. By far, that was probably the scariest experience I ever had to deal with in my life at a very young age. It was unfortunate, but I am so happy that we were able to get through it, and I am now healthier than ever, and the only wounds I get are from my puppy because she chews on my feet, and my friends have to tell me because I can't feel it. I really want this fly to just run into this light really, really hard so then I can just slap it and kill it. Probably the most recent scary moment I had was today, as of the day I'm filming this. I was driving with Ruth. I was practicing my driving. And I was like, okay, this is good. I'm on a main road, yada, yada, yada. I wind up on the freeway by total accident. Turns out the main road turns into a freeway. So I had to quickly learn how to manage the freeway. And it was my first time ever going on the freeway with me behind the wheel. And boy, did Ruth and I have a screaming match at each other. The screaming was not out of anger. It was out of sheer panic and fear from both of us. I almost got into probably 2 car accidents trying to merge, and I was going too slow for some people, and I am so sorry. I was going the speed limit, but it turns out on a freeway you can fluctuate that and go faster. So that's my bad. I'm sorry. But I made it home alive, and I am actually very happy that I did it. So I got experience on the freeway. I got to really feel what it was like to merge and switch lanes under a lot of stress and pressure. Scary experience, but one that I'm glad happened the way it did happen. I didn't have to hype myself up. It happened as easily as something could when you're on the road, just with the flow of things. And I was happy for the experience now that I'm home, nowhere near a vehicle, surrounded by walls, no cars, and I feel great. I feel fabulous. I don't think I can remember any more scary or spooky experiences right now, at least. But if I do come up with more, let me know and I will put them into a little compilation just like this video. Be sure to comment down below what your scariest experience was and why and when it happened. I really like hearing real life spooky stories. Even though these weren't spooky, they were just either creepy or weird, or they weren't just happy good old story times. And yes, these are all true stories. But with all that being said, Starlings, I'm sorry for this really short video. I was expecting these stories to go a lot faster, but when you summarize a story, it goes by a lot quicker than you expect. But be sure to like this video if you did like this video. If you are not for spooky stories, I guess you could dislike this video, but I don't think that should be a reason. All of my social media links are down in the description box below, along with my book website, which is lulu.com, and a link to my little corner of lulu.com. Also my 2 promo codes for the Third Eye Contact Company and Orange Juice the brand. You can save 10% off on both stores if you use my specialized codes. Be sure to subscribe, and follow my social media because it's easier for me to comment back to you guys and get to know you better. Please join the Starling family. You can also join my Patreon. It is a smaller, more selective group. You get videos that no one else can see on any other platform. And also I can talk to you a lot better because we have right now about 11 patrons on there, and I have a lot of good ideas and content coming your way. So be sure to also hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. But with all that being said, Starlings, I shall see you later. There's glitter in my eye, and this is stabbing my eye.